So natural resources of the United States and Canada. So let's give it a look here. Alrighty, first we're looking at the United States. Now the United States has an abundant amount of resources, when it comes to production of fuel. So we got oil, we got natural gas, we got coal. All these natural resources are very important for our production. For example, if you are driving on the highway, what do you need? You need gas in your car that is pumped in deep inside the earth. They pump out that oil and that natural gas, and then that gets brought to the refineries, which then gets cleaned up and then put in the gas station for you to gas up your car. Also, oil is pretty much the foundational for plastic. So anything plastic in your house or that you use daily, that is made from oil. So oil is a huge thing in the United States. We generally have a lot of it. For many generations, we were going outside the country, for example, like in the Middle East or in different parts of Asia for our oil production. But the United States has a large amount of oil in its own borders. Texas, we're famous for having a lot of oil. Texas has a lot of oil production. Places like Alaska also have a lot of oil production. And then places like California out west, they generally have a good amount of oil production. Next, we're getting into resources like minerals. We have a large amount of gold deposits, especially out west. We have a lot of silver, copper, and different minerals that are useful to that. Gold, again, gold is obviously a good monetary asset for us. So that's good. Also is silver. Copper is used in conducting electricity. So in your house right now or in your computer right now, there are all those minerals in that your computer to make your computer function. Copper wires in your house. Probably got that copper in the United States. So those minerals are useful for all sorts of production in our daily lives. Next, you got forestry. You got a bunch of lumber. We have vast forests, especially in the Northeast and across the East and across the North. This forestry is good for, again, wood. We use that wood in wood paneling of your floors, for building of houses, building of businesses, and different buildings. That wood is also used for boats and ships. So again, a good amount of resources. United States has a vast amount of freshwater resources, especially because of those Great Lakes and those rivers. The U.S. is pretty large, so we have a vast amount of territory to work with when it comes to our resources. So we got a lot of stuff. We have a vast amount of fisheries and a vast amount of land for agriculture. Stereotypically, if you're thinking of the Great Plains, which are in the middle of the country, is the great land of corn and wheat, Idaho's potatoes. All across the Midwest, we have a great amount of agriculture production. That is the breadbasket of America. And of course, our fisheries, a lot of fishing out in the Pacific Ocean, in Alaska, and in the Great Lakes, and on the northeast coast of the Atlantic, and then all the way down to the Gulf. So as for resources, the United States is abundant, which allows us to be a very powerful and great country. Next, we move on to the great land of Canada. Oh, Canada. All right, Canada, its resources. Again, similar resources to the United States. Because, why? We're on the same continent. Remember, guys, Canada and United States are both part of North America. So part of that North American continent, we're able to pretty much have our situation there. Again, similar to the resources of the United States. Abundant in oil and in gas, production. One of the major contentions always happens in politics is there's a thing called the gas pipeline. The name fully escapes me right now. There's a gas pipeline that goes from Alaska, passes through Canada, and goes into the United States. There's a back and forth complication on whether we should have that pipeline that goes from Alaska, United States, and Canada because of the environmental issues that may play a role. But the reason it's very contentious is because it would produce a lot of oil and decrease American and Canadian dependence on foreign oil. Also, Canada is full of natural minerals. One of the natural minerals it has is uranium. Uranium is very important for the production of atomic weapons. And also very important for forming nuclear reactors, which are good for producing a large amount of energy. Similar resources include copper, nickels, silver, things like that. Canada, since Canada is part of the Greater North, a lot of those old glaciers, from the Ice Age melted down and formed a bunch of lakes. Canada has a ton of lakes and rivers, so there's a lot of fresh water. So you could be drinking a water that came from the waters of Canada. So there's that. Canada also has a large amount of fisheries. Again, a lot of water, a lot of fish. Makes sense. So Canada is abundant in those resources as well. Again, the general resources of the United States and Canada they're similar because we're on the same continent. Different continents may have different types of resources. Alrighty, that is resources for the United States and Canada. I will see you for our next lesson. See you later.